Good morning everyone and welcome to this online version of our primary school prospectus for this year. As you're aware, it's very difficult circumstances for us with COVID-19 restrictions, and that's why we're attempting to do this prospectus online. First of all, I want to welcome you and your children to our school. As you are aware, our school is a very successful school, and we thank you for placing your trust with us to educate your children in the future. In a few seconds, I'm going to be handing over to Mrs. Donnelly, who will take you through the rest of the programme this morning. But before I hand you over, I just want to say that our school is well renowned for the pastoral element within the school, and we're very well thought of within this community and further afield for what we do above and beyond for our children and our care. So I want to say to you this morning that it's vitally important, if you have any issues with your child's education, with any issues with how they're getting on in school, that will ultimately impact on their outcomes for their learning, and we need to know that immediately. So if you have any concerns, if your child's unsettled, if your child's not happy at school, we need to know that, because we need to intervene as quickly as possible so that your child's learning journey can be as smooth as possible. As you're aware, COVID-19 restrictions mean that at this moment in time we're unsure as to what the arrangements will be in September moving forward. That hopefully will be made known to us over the course of the next few days, and whenever arrangements are put in place, we will be contacting you to make you aware of what the arrangements will be for your child's entry into Primary 1 in September. In the meantime, I want to now hand you over to Mrs. Donnelly. Mrs. Donnelly is our brilliant Primary 1 teacher, and she's part of a team here at St. Joseph's who have a wide expertise across a number of curricular areas. And what I want to say to you before I hand over is that your child will come to us with talents. We promise we will develop those talents over the course of the years that your child is with us. I hope that you and your child have many happy years here on that educational journey, and I really look forward to meeting you all in September whenever we can have our face-to-face meetings and your child can enter Primary 1 for the first time. Thank you, enjoy your summer holiday, and I look forward to meeting you all in September.
Hello everyone, I'm Mrs. Donnelly. I'm the Primary 1 teacher here in St. Joseph's. I'm just really here today to say hello. Under normal circumstances, I would have loved to be welcoming you all into the classroom here, getting to know and getting to see all the new boys and girls and meet you, the parents, as well. But unfortunately, we're not able to do that, so you'll have to make do with just this meet and greet online, unfortunately. But what I am here today to do is just to talk to you a wee bit about what your child will be experiencing when they initially come into P1 and our plans for the year as well. And I hope to welcome you all in person in September for the start of what we hope will be a very happy and rewarding first year of your child here in our school. So thank you.
So as I said, you're very welcome to this online version of our school prospectus. You can pause at any time and read through the information for yourself. What we hope to establish with you during the next number of years is a very open, positive and constructive partnership, which ultimately will provide the best learning environment for your child at our school. We're very fortunate here at St. Joseph's to have wonderful facilities. We're a school that was built in 2012, and therefore the facilities that we have are extremely useful to all of our children and to our staff in getting the best out of our children in terms of ICT, particularly where we have full computer suites and a wide range of digital technology for our children to use. At St. Joseph's, your children will come to, as I said earlier, will come with many talents. Our job is to, obviously, to build on those talents and build on those skills and to develop them further. And hopefully over the coming years, you will see your child grow and be nurtured in the many talents that they have, and which we hope to build upon. Our religious programme is an essential part of our school life. We have a chaplain attached to the school, Canon Crawley, who would come into the school regularly to talk to the children and also to prepare the children for the regular sacraments of school life, including First Communion and Confirmation. In our home links, we obviously try to keep you as fully informed as possible, and therefore there will be progress meetings throughout the year, and you will get a written report at the end of the year. But also it's important for you to realise that you can contact your child at any time, or your teacher at any time, to let them know if you're having any difficulties or you're uncertain about something and you need clarification on it. Our special education needs programme in the school is for some of the children will have special education needs on entering the school. Some will become more apparent as they move through the school. These children may require extra support, and that can be internally or externally provided. Our SENCO in the school, our Special Education Needs Coordinator, is Mr. Hart, and his role is to support the teachers and in planning for the children who have learning difficulties within the school. The curriculum this year, with the COVID-19 restrictions, will look maybe slightly different. Our basic curriculum areas are communication, which in old money was English, and using mathematics. And then we have physical education, the arts, and the world around us. With COVID-19 restrictions in place this year, I can imagine that the curriculum will be very focused around literacy and numeracy, and obviously then as well a physical education element to that, and looking at children's mental health will be a huge issue as well. So it's how we can ensure that our children have access to these areas in the restricted world that we live in. With at the minute we're talking about 1 metre distancing, how we try and plan for that in this different environment that we're going to have to get used to in September. As parents, your children are going to be with us here for hopefully 7 years. It's unlikely during that 7 years that you won't have an issue. But the most important thing is that you should remember never to hesitate to contact the teacher if you have any concerns about your child or about any issue relating to your child's progress in school or their happiness in school. It's vitally important that you would contact us as soon as possible so that any issues can be resolved quickly. In terms of extracurricular provision next year, again, we don't have any idea of what that's going to look like. It's anticipated that in the first term there won't be any extracurricular provision, and also our starting times at school for children coming to school will not be the usual arrangements that we would have had in place for working parents to allow them to drop their children off at school earlier, to allow them to get on to work, and that would have allowed children to be left at school here at 8:30. That's going to change this year because we're at the minute we're being told that arrival times and departure times will be staggered. So again, we're unsure as to how that will look until later on in the summertime. In terms of our pastoral care policy within the school, our school is highly regarded for the nature of pastoral care within our school, and in issues relating to discipline, we're lucky. We're a small rural school. We rarely have any kind of discipline issues in school, and that's just the nature of the families and the area that we live in. In terms of potential injuries to children at school, we will notify you if your child particularly gets a head injury. Well, if any kind of injury, we'll notify you, but particularly with a head injury, even if it's only a minor head injury, we will notify you of that so that you are aware of anything that has happened during that day, and that is our official policy to do that. Likewise, if your child comes in with any kind of obvious marks or bruises, we will ask, that is part of our child protection policy, and we will ask how children have got that mark, so please don't feel anxious that we've done that, but that is just part of our official legal responsibility in relation to safeguarding and child protection. Whenever your child arrives at school, then you will be giving a safeguarding policy statement which you will sign off on. Part of our safeguarding as well in relation to that is intimate care, and intimate care is whenever maybe a child has an accident, in a toileting accident. Again, with COVID-19 restrictions, we don't know how that's going to pan out. Normally we'd be able to issue you with advice at the start of the year and a pro forma to fill in to complete that you're happy for that to be done. But with COVID-19, again, we're not sure as to how that's going to take shape, so we will know that maybe later in the summer, and before your child enters school we will have a better picture of what that's going to look like. In terms of health promoting schools, we are a health promoting school, so therefore at break time we would ask all children that they bring in some fruit as part of their break. Milk, water or fruit is the only things that can be eaten at break time. Lunchtime then is different in that you can send in your own packed lunch for your child, or we have a very successful school meals kitchen here which provides a very healthy nutritious meal for all children during the day. Our pupil council plays a large role in our school life. Again, your child will not experience this until primary 3 or primary 7, when there's an opportunity to be voted onto the school council. And through this programme, our children are actively involved in the life of the school and the school environment, and supporting charities as well. And we've had very successful pupil councils throughout our school. In terms of homework, homework is given to reinforce the learning that has taken place in school during that day. And what I would say to you is, if you find that your child is struggling or has any issues with any aspects of homework, it's very important that you would contact the class teacher to let them know as soon as possible, to make them aware of that so that they can provide further support for you. In terms of the information here for parents, I would say to you that items of clothing are a regular bugbear in that the items get mixed up and lost. So please make sure that your items are very clearly marked in terms of children coming into school with coats, jackets, raincoats, jumpers, t-shirts, that they're all clearly marked on the child who they belong to. Break time as well, we would remind you not to send any foodstuffs or lunchtime rather, not to be sending any foodstuffs containing nuts, because we have a number of children in the school who have nut allergies and would be severely affected if there were any trace of nuts in any of the foodstuffs that you provide coming into school. This slide shows, just in relation to the importance of keeping children off school whenever they are sick. Again, COVID-19, if you have any concerns in relation to you or your family or your children, the Public Health Agency or your family doctor can provide you with any kind of information that you will need in relation to this. But again, that's something we need to be take very serious cognizance of at this particular time. In relation to any absences, we have a legal obligation to notify the Education Welfare Officer if a child has missed more than 15% of their school days in any given period. So it's very important that your child is at school and is regularly at school, and if they're not at school, that a notice provided and with a reason as to why they aren't there. Also, I just would ask you to make sure that whenever someone is collecting your child other than a parent, that you notify the staff that someone else will be collecting the child, because staff will not be aware, particularly at the start of the year, will not be aware of aunties, uncles, cousins that potentially could be, or childminders that could potentially come in to lift your child. So please make sure that they're made aware of that. Our school uniform can be purchased from either Branda's Fashions in Katy, McElvanna's shop in Katy, or Mickey Beatty's in Katy. All provide the school uniform. In terms of school hours, again, due to COVID-19 arrangements, we're unsure as to the starting times for each individual class. If the staggered arrangements are going to be put in place, which we feel they will be, again, you'll be notified about that at the end of the school year. Our staff are outlined here for you for this year, and also our Board of Governors, who are a very effective part of our school, and also if you have any issues that you feel that need to be brought to the Board of Governors, they are outlined there for you. So in terms of
school life. If you feel that you want to find out more, please go on to our school website and you can track a P1 group through any of the years outlined, and you can see the range of activities that they will be involved in during their time at our school. So, as I say, there's a lot of things up in the air this year because of COVID, but hopefully towards the end of the summer we'll be in a better position to know what's going to happen with the new year, and we will inform you as soon as we know. In the meantime, can I just wish you all a happy summer break, and we look forward to meeting you and your children in the 1st of September. Thank you so much.
Hello everyone, and again I would just like to echo Mr. Loughran's words of welcome to you all, and to say that I'm delighted to have you on board as new parents for our coming year. Mr. Loughran has given you a very detailed insight into the life of our school, and it's a lot of information to take on board, and I don't have very much more to add to what Mr. Loughran has already said, other than to maybe elaborate on a few points. I'm aware that many of you may be anxious about your child starting school, particularly if this is your first child. And just to say that the first term in Primary 1 can be quite challenging for some children, in that they've a lot to deal with and to adapt to, a new routine, a new school environment. And it's important to allow for this settling in period, and to remember that it will be different for every child. So just, not to get annoyed or not to get worried if your child is finding the transition into school difficult to begin with. Mr. Loughran has also talked about the format of the curriculum for this year, and he emphasised our focus on the physical and particularly the mental health of all the children. And this will be particularly important for the Primary 1 children as they settle into school. Again, Mr. Loughran has also said that it's vital if you inform us if there are any issues that are affecting your child's happiness at school. And as a Primary 1 teacher, I have the luxury of seeing parents on a daily basis and being able to chat with you. Maybe not as much in the morning now. We really don't know what format our coming to school is going to take as yet. But I'm certainly available after school, or whenever you feel that it's convenient for you to talk to me, should there be any issues that you feel is affecting or upsetting your child. As parents and we as teachers as well, we want to foster resilience and independence in your children. But if something is making your child unhappy in school, it's very important, that we address it as quickly as possible to help with the whole settling in process. In Primary 1, we aim to develop in the children as well, a good degree of independence, and this is in many areas, but in particularly in their personal skills and in their personal hygiene, which is going to be very important this year in the current COVID-19 climate. So it's very important that the children are able to toilet themselves independently, and particularly to have good hand washing skills, which I'm sure you're at home trying to instill in them already. As Mr. Loughran also explained, we'll be able to provide you with more detail regarding our intimate care and how it's going to be carried out when we ourselves receive notification as to how to go about this. And again, just as Mr. Loughran also talked about regarding the labelling of your child's belongings, particularly jumpers, and I can't emphasise this enough, because while your child may be able to recognise their coat and their own school bag and maybe a wee lunchbox or any other wee belongings they're bringing in, the jumpers are all the same to the children. They won't be able to distinguish between size either, so it's vitally important that you label your child's jumper, because they will be taking it off maybe if they're too warm or whatever. Your children will be doing PE as well. Again, Mr. Loughran emphasised the importance of the physical aspect of what they'll be doing on a daily basis, and we don't have a separate PE uniform in school. It's just going to be their children wearing a pair of jogging bottoms with their school polo shirt, and and I'll detail this and on the days that they'll be doing PE again when I meet with you in September. But that's really all I have to add at this point. I will have the opportunity to discuss our classroom setup and what I'll be doing with the children in more detail when your child comes to school in September. I'm really looking forward to meeting you all and to welcoming your child to our school, and I hope that they'll be very happy here in Primary 1 to begin with and in St Joseph's as they begin their learning journey.